Insult Teens. Nice to see you. Come in, come in, come in. Been waiting for you. Where have you been? I've been waiting for you all day. I've actually been trying to make this video all day, so that's what it feels like. I'm trying to change my setup around to see what looks better. I don't know. I apologize for the background confusion, but we're going to go with the way it is today for now. Okay. Hi, if you're new here, my name is Audrey. I am a real live American psychic. I'm a psychic medium. I channel spirit. I talk to dead people. I communicate with those who have crossed over. It's very complicated. It's very odd. It's a very strange thing I do. So I appreciate your time today. We're going to talk about the Maddy MCCANN case. Before that, I'm going to talk about a few other things. So if you don't want to hear my few other things, go ahead and fast forward the video. I don't know, maybe 10 minutes or so. Okay, and then also I always want to give myself a plug. I have an online jewelry shop. These are Joan Rivers, vintage Joan Rivers. Joan Rivers makes amazing jewelry. Well, I should say she did make amazing jewelry. Very, very high quality costume jewelry. And she, along with a bunch of other designers, Heidi Doss, Trifari, I have on my website. So I appreciate a gander if you head over there. Maybe just do some window shopping, you know, Mother's Day, weddings, birthdays, anniversaries, graduation, all kinds of things coming up. So I appreciate your time checking that out. Okay, so in my last video where I was talking about, me, I was talking about myself. What was that video called? Oh my God, it was just yesterday, Audrey. My narcissistic mother and all that. So yeah, and how am I okay with myself? How am I okay with my appearance? How am I okay? Where does my confidence come from? Why am I confident even though I'm not perfect? So that conversation got me very riled up. I apologize for the cursing, but it was called for, okay? It was called for. I warned you about it. There won't be any cussing in this video, but it got me riled up, that video. And so I like to go back and check my videos after I've posted them to see if there's anything out of whack or anything I want to change or something I didn't like. So I wasn't happy with the way I was explaining those people that have a higher education. It's not that I don't appreciate the education. Of course I appreciate the education that our doctors, lawyers, scientists, military, whoever it is. Without those people, we would not be the civilization that we are. So thank God there are people who want to go out and study these things and do have to get the degrees in order to create whatever you're creating or supplying or operating on or whatever. And yeah, of course, if my kids had a doctorate degree or whatever, of course I would be proud of them. My point was, okay, so maybe you don't know, I worked at a university. There's a lot of ego goes around a university when you work with the lecturers and professors. They're not better than anybody else. Yeah, they're smart in this one field, or they were smart, or they did study in this XYZ field and they got their degrees. That's great. I'm all about education. I've worked in education for 20 years. So I just want to make sure not to offend anybody. I felt a little conflicted with the way that I tried to explain that. So again, I appreciate anyone who has the education, but just keep in mind, don't let those kind of people make you feel dumb. Don't let them make you feel bad about yourself. That's my entire point. We are equal. We're equal on this side and we're equal on the other side. And I think sometimes people, either super wealthy or super intelligent, think they're kind of void of being mixed in with us everyday people. You know what I mean? It's like, well, I don't qualify with them. I'm this other kind of person and I've achieved these things. And I'm sure my experience on the other side is going to be different than it is on this side. So we're the same. We're the same. Because even though I don't have a PhD, I have other stuff that I've learned and things that are very valuable for the world as well, like what I'm doing, channeling spirit. And, you know, maybe you're an artist. Maybe you're a surf instructor. Whatever it is you do, it's as important as somebody with a very high ranking degree. So don't let people beat you down and make you feel bad about yourself. That's my point. Okay. Thank you for letting me clear that up. And yes, like I mentioned, I do have a title, but I don't use it. I paid for it. And I'll tell you why I bought my title. I bought a ladyship title because I can't stand being away from England. That's how crazy in love with England I am. It hurts my heart not being there every second, every day that I'm not there, which is most of my life. So it just psychologically makes me feel better knowing that I have a 5x5 plot in Cumbria that gives me a title, but I don't think it's real. I don't think it's a real title. You know what I mean? But they say it is, but I don't think it is. But I did that for myself just to help me stay connected to England, and because I love it so much. I love it. And I probably won't be back to England until October. So all my British friends, I would like to do a meetup because I never ended up doing a meetup before. So between now and my next trip to England, I'd really want to get the channel growing, and I want my British fan base back so I can go and you guys can meet me and I can meet you, more importantly, for me to meet you guys. And yeah, so that's something I'm really looking forward to. So thank you. Again, thank you. I'm going to have some of this very fuzzy, bubbly water. I think this has aspartame in it, so I won't be buying it. My mom gave me a case of this. I don't think I want to buy them, though, for that because of the aspartame. Okay, one last thing. Donna Anderson. Hi, Donna. Donna, thank you for your comments and your question. You know, Donna leaves comments on a regular basis. I super appreciate it, and you should feel comfortable, too. Just know that I may mention you in a video. So I wanted to address this comment Donna left. I think she left it today, about another channel she watches where there's another psychic medium there who she enjoys. And that psychic medium said that in the Alec Murdaugh case that she said Alec Murdaugh killed Maggie and Paul himself. There was no one else. You know, he's the one solely responsible for their deaths. And then she asked me, how could this be? Because, you know, she likes me, my channel, but she likes this other channel too. So how is that possible that two psychics that she trusts have two different answers? Yes, exactly, Donna. That is a very good question. And I'm not going to say anything bad about any other psychics. What it is, I'm sure, Donna, it's not easy what we do being psychics because we have to interpret information, and the information is sometimes physical, it's thoughts, it's hearing things. There's many different ways people channel and receive their information. We're all different. We all have different thumbprints. We're all different. We talk different. We understand things different, and we present things different. So I can honestly see why someone, a psychic, would say that, well, Spirit told me Alec did it. He shot them in the back as they ran away. There's so much to interpret with this case. And that's why I'm always careful what I say. I try and wait for Spirit to give me enough information so that I feel confident enough to tell you the information. So Donna, when I read your message, I went back to Spirit and asked again, please, am I misinterpreting? Did I screw up? What's going on? And the Spirit showed me, no, you interpreted what we told you, and Alec did not pull the triggers. And here's the thing. This other psychic maybe later she's going to go back and say, ooh, okay, I misunderstood this one thing, or now Spirit's revealing to me this other part of the story that I didn't have before. So yeah, he's responsible, but he didn't pull the trigger. And I could end up doing the same thing. But I don't think I will in this particular case, Donna. I'm confident what Spirit's shown me. The two dark men, I don't think they were African American, but they were dark and they were wearing dark clothes. They had the guns. They did the shooting. Alec was there. He did say, don't run. And I said that in my other video a while ago. He said, Maggie, don't run. Don't run, Maggie. I can hear him. I can do his accent. I'm telling you, that's... I can literally hear it. So, that's part of the territory. It literally could have been anyone in the world, couldn't it? That shot and killed Maggie and Paul. But basically we're saying the same thing. Really, when you get down to the root of it, is Alec did it. So yeah, he did do it. But he didn't pull the trigger. He didn't pull the trigger. Triggers. Yeah. So anyway, if we can talk more about that later, we can. But thank you, Donna. I appreciate your question. It's a great question. I'm really hot in here. I think I might need to turn this fan on. It's like our first actual warm day down here. Okay. I cut my hair again. Look I did this myself. I wanted that kind of shaggy look. I should stop. But I don't know. I just, this hair was all the way, get off. I don't want any hair right now. When I was pregnant with my daughter, my first child, I basically had a buzz cut. Like, I couldn't look at hair. I didn't want to touch hair. It made me nauseous. So, but I'm not nauseous over my hair right now. I just want it out of my face. Okay. Maddy MCCANN. So this is part 5 in the series. And if you're new here, go back and after watching this video, if you would like, start from the beginning, part 1. I'm reading from the Wikipedia, the free encyclopedia. And I printed out 12 pages, but there's more. There's a lot more. So I just have 12 pages here. And I'm kind of reading 2 pages at a time, front and back or so. I'll see how far I can get today. I just browsed through here, not really getting any information, just kind of, what's that word say? What's this word say? Honestly, it seems super boring to me, so I'm not excited about reading this. But who knows? Spirit may surprise me, and I do have some new information from Spirit, actually. But I think this information, as we continue to go through and read, confirms and shows us how difficult this case is. So many people involved in trying to find the truth. This person, that person, this person dies, that person gets transferred. The case is now taken over by this person. Too many cooks in the kitchen, too many hands on this case. It was mishandled, I would say, severely. It's just, Madeline's passed, that much I know. Maybe, but at the end of this, maybe we'll have some idea where we can find Madeline's remains. You know, we want closure, like I've said before. It's mostly women here. We want the closure. We don't want these unsolved deaths looming behind us. You know, us women, we're already afraid to go out at night or after work if it's dark, going to your car in the parking lot. Men don't have that problem. That's something we have to think about every single freaking day. So we want answers to these murders. We want to know. We need the safety. We need the comfort of knowing somebody was put away for the crime. And again, the father, Mr. McCann, sketch. The more days go by, the more sketchy he feels to me. And I'm not saying he's like a horrible, horrible person, but he's sketchy. He's sketchy. I'm sorry. I don't know what other word to use. I don't like his energy. I don't like it. Yeah, I don't like it at all. All right, so we are continuing down here where it says Gonzalo Amaral removal. So he was the guy in charge of the case. Did we get to the part where it said he died? I think that was back here. Anyway, he's dead. Okay. On October 2nd, 2007, Chief Inspector Gonzalo Amaral was removed from his post as the inquiry's coordinator and transferred to Faro after telling the newspaper that British police had only pursued leads to help the McCanns. Oh my God, I think I freaking read this already. Well, I'm going to read it anyway. As an example, he criticized their decision to follow up an anonymous email to Prince Charles that claimed a former Ocean Club employee had taken Madeline. Yeah, I did read this. Amaral was himself made in... this isn't... I don't know what language. I guess it's Portuguese word. Like a suspect. Amaral himself was made as a suspect one day after Madeline's disappearance in relation to his investigation of another case, the disappearance of Joanna Cipriano. The following month, he was charged with making a false statement, and 4 other officers were charged with assault. 8-year-old Joanna Cipriano had vanished in 2004 from Figueira, 7 miles from Praia del Luz. Her body was never found, and no murder weapon was identified. Cipriano's mother and uncle were convicted of her murder after confessing, but the mother retracted her confession, saying she had been beaten by police. Amaral was not present when the beating is alleged to have taken place, but he was accused of having covered up for others. The other detectives were acquitted. Amaral was convicted of perjury in May of 2009 and received an 18-month suspended sentence. The McCann inquiry was taken over by Paulo Rebelo, Deputy National Director of the Police, which expanded its team of detectives and began a case review. On November 29, 2007, 4 members of the Portuguese inquiry, including Francisco Cortel Real, Vice President of Portugal's Forensic Crime Service, were briefed at Leicestershire Police Headquarters by the FSS. In April 2008, the Tapas 7 were interviewed in England by the Leicestershire Police with the PJ in attendance, the Portuguese police. The Portuguese police, planned in December 2007 to hold a reconstruction in Praia da Luz using the McCanns and Tapas 7 rather than actors. But the Tapas 7 declined to participate. Weird. The poor relationship between the McCanns and the Portuguese police was evident again that month when, on the day the couple were in the European Parliament to promote a monitoring system for missing children, transcripts of their interviews with the police were leaked to Spanish television. Okay, hold on. I'm getting information right now, but I'll keep reading. The National Director of the Police, Alipio Ribeiro, resigned not long after this, citing media pressure. He had publicly said the police had been hasty in naming the McCanns as suspects. As of May 2008, Portuguese prosecutors were examining several charges against the McCanns, including child abandonment, abduction, homicide, and concealment of a corpse. Okay. Inquiry closed July 21st, 2008. On July 21st, 2008, the Portuguese Attorney General Fernando José Pinto Monteiro announced that there was no evidence to link the McCanns or Robert Murat to Madeleine's disappearance. Their suspicion status was lifted and the case was closed. On August 4th, Portugal's public minister released 17 case files containing 11,233 pages on CD-ROM to the media, including 2,550 pages of sightings. The files included a 58-page prosecutor's report, which concluded no element of proof whatsoever was found, which allows us to form any lucid, sensible, serious, and honest conclusion about... make sure I'm not missing a word. About the circumstances. In 2009, Portugal released a further 2,000 pages. Days after the case closed, excerpts from Kate's diary, which had been taken by the police in August 2007, were published in translation by a Portuguese tabloid. Portuguese judge ruling in 2008 that the seizure had been privacy violated and that any copies must be destroyed. Yeah, how could they do that? Even if she was guilty, how could they do that? I don't get it. On September 14th, 2008, a News International tabloid published the extracts, again, without permission, and now improperly translated it back into English. So I worked in languages at the university, and translating is tricky. Not just psychically, but translating one language to another. Let's say you take English to French, okay? You get a French text. Okay, well, now take that French text, translate it back to American English. It won't be the same because it's a translation. So, you know that saying, like, it was lost in translation? Yeah, it was lost. A lot of things are lost in translation. And if you've studied the Bible, you know that. It's tricky. I'm just trying to think, like, if you go on Google, I wonder if Google would do it properly. But see, it depends who's doing the translating. there's a lot of different dialects, and if you're from this village, you would use this word for car. If you're from the other city over here from the same country, you might use this word. So there's different words depending on your geographical location. So it depends. I don't trust translations very much. Okay. Amaril's book. The lingering tension between the McCanns and the police had reached such a height that Amaral resigned from the force in 2008 to write a book alleging that Madeline had died in an accident in the apartment, and that, to cover it up, the McCanns had faked an abduction. 3 days after the case closed, Amaral's book, Maddy, a Verdade, it's in Portuguese, let's say The Truth of the Lie, was published in Portugal by Guerra and Paz. By November 2008, it had sold 180,000 copies. By 2010, had been translated into 6 languages. A documentary based on the book was broadcast on TVI in Portugal in 2009, watched by 2.2 million viewers. The McCanns began a libel action against Amaral and his publisher in 2009. Madeline's fund covered the legal fees. In 2015, they were awarded over 600,000 euros in liable damages. Amaral's appeal against that decision succeeded in 2016. A judge had issued an injunction against further publication or sales of the book in 2009, but the Lisbon Court of Appeal overturned the ban in 2010. Stating that it violated Amaral's freedom of expression, the ban was reinstated in 2015 as part of the libel ruling, then lifted when Amaral's appeal succeeded in 2016. The McCanns appealed in 2016, the 2016 decision to Portugal's Supreme Court, but the court ruled against them in February 2017. In their 76-page ruling, the judges wrote that the McCanns had not in fact been cleared by archiving of the criminal case in 2008. In March of 2017, the Supreme Court rejected the McCanns' final appeal. I wish there wasn't so many politics involved, but unfortunately, that's how it's going to be. That's how it's always been. That's probably how it'll always be in the future. It's like, can't we just get this baby laid to rest properly, or, grieve her loss? Those are filthy. So because we have this guy, Amaral, doing bad things, illegal things, whether it's the McCann case or the other case before, if people would just do their job and stay out of drama and let the process be processed the way it's supposed to, instead of trying to make a buck off of it, or trying to make a name for yourself out of this disappearance, it's bad. Okay, the next section is called Madeline's Fund Inquiry. Raising money. The McCanns set up Madeline's Fund, leaving no stone unturned, on May 15, 2007, 12 days after the disappearance. Over 80 million people visited the fund's website in the 3 months after the disappearance. From September 2007, Brian Kennedy of Everest Windows supported the couple financially, and Kennedy's lawyer joined the fund's board of directors. As of February 2017, it had 7 directors, including the McCanns. Appeals by public figures were screened at football matches across the UK. Between May 2007 and March 2008, the fund received £1,846,178, including £1.4 million through the bank, £390,000 online, and £64,000 from merchandise. Donations included £250,000 from the News of the World donations. News of the World, sorry. £250,000 from Sir Philip Green, $50,000 from Simon Cowell, and $25,000 from Colleen Rooney. J.K. Rowling and Richard Branson also made large donations. Branson donated £100,000 to the McCann's legal fund. Madeline's fund did not cover the couple's legal costs arising from their status as suspects, but it was criticized in October 2007 for having made two of the McCann's mortgage payments before they were made suspects. A reward of £2.5 million was also offered, including from the News of the World Rowling. Branson, Green, and a Scottish businessman, Stephen Wynyard. In March of 2008, Express newspapers paid the fund $550,000 and £375,000 in liable damages arising out of the articles about the McCanns and the Tapas 7, respectively. In 2011, Kate McCann's book, Madeline, was serialized by the Sunday Times and the Sun, both owned by News International, for a payment to the fund of £500,000 to £1 million. In December 2015, the fund stood around £750,000. It's a lot of money moving around. Okay, private investigators. Madeline's fund hired several firms of private investigators, causing friction with the Portuguese police. Shortly after the disappearance, an anonymous benefactor paid for the services of a British security company, Control Risks. There had reportedly been 4 independent sightings from North Africa. Brian Kennedy went to Monaco himself in September 2007 to look into one. Well, that must have been a big tip or something to go to Africa. I mean, it's not super far from Portugal, but still. A Norwegian woman had reported seeing a girl matching Madeline's description in a petrol station, a gas station, near Marrakesh, Morocco on May 9th, 2007. The child had reportedly asked the man she was with in English, "Can we see Mummy soon?" When the witness returned home to Spain, she learned about the disappearance and telephoned the Spanish police. A month later, according to Kate, the police had still not formally interviewed the woman, which led to the McCanns to fear that leads were not being pursued. The McCanns themselves traveled to Morocco on June 10, 2007 to raise awareness. They spent the night at the British ambassador's residence and were briefed by consular staff and Metropolitan Police attaché. Kennedy hired a Spanish agency for 6 months at £50,000 a month, which put 35 investigators on the case in Europe and Monaco. The relationship came to an end in part because of the head of the agency made several public statements that concerned the McCanns, including to CBS that "we know the kidnapper," quote unquote. "We know who he is and how he has done it." Another private investigator was David Edgar, a retired detective inspector hired in 2009 on the recommendation of the head of the Manchester Serious Crime Squad. Edgar released an e-fit in August that year of a woman said to have had asked 2 British men in Barcelona shortly after the disappearance whether they were there to deliver her new daughter or private initiatives included a Portuguese lawyer financing the search of a reservoir near Praia da Luz in February 2008. and the use of ground radar by South African police developer Stephen Birch, who said in 2012 that scans showed there were bones beneath the driveway of a house in Praia del Luz. My husband and I were talking about that. I don't know if it was today or yesterday about, were we driving somewhere? I don't know. We saw something about a cement factory. It's like, oh man, I wonder how many dead people are in cement. You know, because we listen to all these crime shows. But what I wanted to tell you that I've had on my list has been down here this whole time. Let me see. Where is it? Right here, I have it. I wrote this before I started reading this. I've never read this before. I'm reading this as I'm telling it to you guys. And what it says is, what I was given today from Spirit is a vision. So what happens is Spirit takes me out of my mind, takes me to this place where Madeline is. I see her holding a hand of a short, slightly overweight man. And he says, come on, I'm going to take you to your mommy now. And then I just read something very similar in here. She's asking, okay, can I see my mommy now? I really wish I had told you what was on my paper first. Because that's Spirit. That's Spirit. Spirit told me this before Spirit told me a few hours ago about this new information. And I don't know, I don't feel this message from Spirit happened at a gas station. I feel like this conversation happened at the apartment, and this short man said, I'm going to take you to your mom. Come on. I'm going to take you to your mommy. Come on. Out of the apartment. I think that's what I see. But when I say it out loud, I'm not getting confirmation from Spirit, but I believe that's what I'm seeing. In my mind, I can see it right now. I see the guy. He's holding his right hand to Madeline's left hand. He's bending over a little bit. He's on the shorter side. He's on the pudgy side. And she's just so willing to go with him. Just like, okay. So then I read this information, and yeah, that's very close to what I just got from Spirit. Okay, I'll read this next little bit. Oakley International. In 2008, Madeline's fund hired Oakley International, a Washington, D.C. registered detective agency, for over £500,000 for 6 months. Oakley sent a 5-man team to Portugal led by Henry Exton, a former British police officer who had worked for MI5. The Oakley team engaged in undercover operations within the Ocean Club and among the pedophile rings and the Roma community. Yuck. Exton questioned the significance of the Tanner sighting and focused instead on the sighting of Martin and Mary Smith, of a man carrying a child toward the beach. The Oakley team produced EFITs based on the Smiths' description. This was a sensitive issue because Martin had recently watched BBC coverage of the McCann's arrival in the UK from Portugal at the height of public debate about their alleged involvement. As Jerry exited the aircraft with his son in his arms, Smith believed he recognized him as the man he had seen carrying the child in Praia del Luz. He reported his suspicion to the Leicestershire police, but later came to accept that he was mistaken. At 2200 hours, witness placed Jerry in the tapas restaurant. Nevertheless, publication of the Smith EFITs, which bore some resemblance to Jerry, would. All right, you guys, I'm having some more technical difficulties. I don't know what's going on. I had read another section, but instead of rereading it today, I'll read it in the next video in regards to Madeleine McCann's disappearance. So we'll leave it there for today. A bunch of more confusing information, nothing solid, a lot of conspiracy and ideas and thoughts about poor little Maddy. So we'll continue on with this. And again, check out my jewelry shop online. Check me out on Instagram. And don't forget to like this video, subscribe to this channel, and share this video. It's so easy. And I'll see you guys super soon, okay? Have a great day. Mwah. Ciao.